Hey everyone. In this video, I'm just going to be laning against a Challenger Jax, and I just wanted to go through my decision making and what I look for when I want to make a solo kill, and how I get around playing with the new mana nerfs. So before I get into it, I just want to show the credentials. I am Challenger. The enemy I'm against is also Challenger. It's a Challenger Jax, 67% win rate. It's not just your average Jax player that's just autofilled. This guy is actually Challenger. He is 1k LP. And I'm just going to break down my thought process and my decisions during the match. So we get into game, and I'll just go over to the laning phase. So I'm against Jax, and how you want to play the laning phase is pretty much just Q as little as possible. Now, Jax has grasp here. So the reason I don't hit the wave is because if I walk up, he will hit me with E. And I will lose my entire health bar since I can't really trade back. My Q doesn't do that much damage. And Jax wins that extended fight since he has stacking attack speed on his passive. Now he does have grasp here and he doesn't have lethal tempo, but he still wins. Cassante has such a weak early game now. You are just bound to just sit back and let him push the wave. If you ever push the wave, like let's say I walk up to these minions and I Q, and he's now like, okay, well now your wave is pushing, but you can't really walk up because if you walk up, I'm just gonna win automatically. So the idea is you sit back, I Q the minion, and you just fish for minions with your Q. Now here I stack up my Q3 because I know he's going to punish me off. And I hit the minions closer to me so I don't have to walk up as much. And that's already really good. Like, I what I'm trying to do right now is just get the XP. I don't want to fight him. Obviously, I'll look for a Q if he steps into a minion, but now I'm not looking to Q him like at all anymore. He can jump on me whenever, I have to respect it. So you just sap XP, you try and just soak XP, let the wave come to you, let it sit in front of your tower. You want your autos to be the main source of how you get CS. Usually you could just spam Q on the wave and regularly have your Q3 up, but that's no longer the case early game since your Q is very cost heavy. And yeah, now that I have the minion wave underneath my tower, I'm allowed to safely farm. I won't look for the freeze because I'll lose a lot of health, and I have a plan so that the wave won't heavily bounce back. So if you noticed, I did go Conquer, and I am testing the rune page, and the idea behind Conquer for Cassante is that your new goal for the new Cassante is to just trade as little as possible. So that's my goal right now. I'm not looking for auto trades with Jax because I know he wins it with his W and his E. And honestly, and I know if I go for a trade, I will lose so much mana. So I'm just playing for the level 6 all-in with Conquer. So you can see now my wave is bouncing back here, and this is bad for me because the wave is pushing into him. He can bully me off. I can't really fight him. So what I do here is I stand inside my wave. Thankfully, he doesn't let it push too much. He's thinning it out. But basically, my goal is to sit inside my wave, and if he does choose to E on top of me, he will hit the wave as well. Since he wants to tank the wave so his E will do more damage, you can see his E hit the entire wave. Even though he doesn't take minion aggro, that still pushes the wave a little bit. And although it doesn't completely negate the bounce, you can see I'm just playing with my wave here. I was looking for the Diana, so I wouldn't want to play too aggressive. And now I'm just waiting for my jungler. I wanted the cannon, but I got flashed on, and I missed the cannon, unfortunately. But that's alright. I was just shy of leveling up. And Also notice how I go for, I had 780 gold. Notice how I go for ruby and a cloth instead of sheen. I think ruby cloth is much more efficient because your abilities, your Q scales with health and armor. And yes, sheen is nice for the trading, but as I just said, you don't want to be playing for trades. You're just playing for the all-in. So here, I walk towards my jungler, try and salvage the fight. She flashes away. It's alright. We got 2 flashes in turn for a trade, or in turn for a ghost. Shove the wave as quickly as possible here. Jax TPs, so I'm not going to stick around. Go around the map, grab some vision. And now I know that we're around the same XP level, and I know he is probably a little bit higher in terms of XP, and his wave is pushing, so I really don't want to fight him here, because that level 6 spike is pretty strong for Jax. As you can see, I'm expecting it. I also note that he has a sheen, so any trade with him is just going to hurt a lot. So right now, I'm doing everything in my power to constantly keep the wave in front of my tower, because that's where my safe spot is. I'm not allowed to really walk up and trade with him here, because I will just lose. As you can see, he's just walking towards me because he knows if I jump on him, I'm just gonna win the trade. And even if he W's, he uses his E, he uses his Q, he's just lost 1/3 of his mana pool. Like, that's a lot more beneficial for me. So go for a little bit of a trade. You can see I hit level 6. I'm a little more confident now. I have 2 biscuit. I'm sitting on 2 biscuits. I didn't even need to spam my abilities that much because my wave was constantly in a fine spot. I wasn't forced to use a lot of my abilities. I took a bad trade, got hit by his EW, or I got hit by his W. And here, I'll just let you watch, and then I'll analyze. So, how we killed him there. It looks like I just stat checked him, but I want to show you what my thought process is during this entire fight. So, I think about 1 moment. My video player does this a bit. So, what happened during that fight was basically when I'm looking for a fight. Sorry about that. When I'm looking for a fight with Jax, or with any champion of that matter, I am constantly, in my head, I'm like, what is stopping me from killing this champion right now with my ult? And whether that be a Camille E, whether that be a Gnar E, it's always a defensive ability that the enemy will use to try and get away from you, because that's the only thing the enemy wants to do when they get ulted. So for example, when you ult Camille, she just wants to E out of there as quickly as possible, and it's a very high chance you won't be able to follow Camille E unless Camille really screws it up. But technically speaking, whenever I'm against a Camille, I'm always looking for, is she gonna, like, does she have her escape ability up? And if she wastes her E, I'm like, okay, now I have 15, 16, 14 second window where I can look for a kill, and that's plenty of time. So I can literally just press W as soon as she E's, hit her towards the terrain because she's coming from a direction of terrain. So I'm in a really favorable position now because I can just ult her and she can't run from me. She can use her Q movement speed, sure, but I have my 2 dashes and Q slow every other second. It's really, really strong. And in that case, or in this case for Jax, I saw him use his Q and I saw him use his E. Jax actually has 2 defensive abilities because he can hop around and he can block my auto attacks, which is my main source of damage. So as soon as I see him, I'm paying attention, paying very close attention to what he's gonna do. I do get hit by a very, um, um, very hurtful W there. So right here, the Jax is smart. He knows if he jumps on me right now, I'm just gonna press E. I'm gonna press E this way, and during the jump, that I'm gonna just reposition him straight into the tower. So he jumps on the minion a little bit closer to me, and it's smart from him. And I do the same thing. He uses his Q and his E, and this is where I look for my all-in. Even though I'm missing half my HP, I realize that he is fighting underneath my tower. He takes 2 tower shots thanks to this Q slow. And even though I absolutely whiff my Q here, it is a very favorable fight for me. So yeah, that is pretty much the general basis of how you want to be laning as Cassante. Just playing safe, not interacting with your laner that much, get the wave towards your tower, and basically look for the all-in as soon as your enemy uses their getaway ability. So like a Camille E, if you see Gnar waste his E, if you see Jax waste his Q or his E, it's better if Jax uses both his Q and his E, because if he only uses one of them, he can still like fight back quite efficiently or run away. So just looking for your safe space and using your Q as little as possible. Now Conquer was a little bit I was testing a little bit, so I'm not fully recommending it just yet. I am testing a little bit. And Cassante buffs are also in the works, so I'll make a follow-up on that. But yeah, I was gonna make this video a lot earlier, but I was sick. So I appreciate you guys watching, and if you like this type of content, I will be very happy to do more commentary, just like short little laning commentary like this. And peace.